don't want to go.
I know you don't. I know, but you have to, and you're going to be okay, all right?
Please don't make me go.
It's your boy RB back again for another one. NFL season starts on Thursday. You know what that means. NFL season preview. Let's get right into it. Nuance Machine episode 58. Let's kick it. All right, before we get started, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also, check out my shop, breezysprints.com, where you can find all original designs printed on high-quality tees, tank tops, sweatshirts, and hoodies. All designs are done by yours truly, and without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go through each division and briefly talk about every team in each division, what the expectations are, and what each team could realistically accomplish. I do not do predictions.
Nope.
Okay, I feel like making predictions is a gimmick done by sports talking heads. You know, Colin Cowherd has that segment like where Colin was right, where Colin was wrong.
Where Colin was wrong.
Well,
I think that's so cheesy, and I have no interest in doing that. Now, once the season starts, I will try and pick individual games because, you know, from time to time I do put a little bit of money on a game here and there to make it a little bit more interesting. But, you know, and picking games is fun, but I'm not going to sit here and say,
this team from the AFC is going to the Super Bowl, and this team from the NFC is going to the Super Bowl.
My Super Bowl pick for the season is...
I'm just not interested in all that. So anyway, with all that explained, let's get into it. So the best division in the AFC is the AFC East, which is very strange to me. Like, the Patriots dominated that division for so long with Tom Brady, but now the Bills have dominated for the past few seasons with Josh Allen. Miami will be pretty good as long as Tua is healthy, and finally the team everyone is keeping an eye on for that division is the New York Jets. Adding Aaron Rodgers to this team should elevate them to a playoff status, but this is turning out to be the toughest conference in the AFC, so that's not necessarily guaranteed. But on paper, the Jets probably have the best roster in the division. They also have a great coach in Robert Saleh, who has done a great job changing the trajectory of this team. But in the end, I think it should be a two-team race for the division between the Jets and the Bills. Miami probably won't be far behind, and they may be good enough to get that second wild card spot. And if any division in the AFC could have 3 playoff teams, it's this one. Also, I think the Patriots are the worst team in this division. They have the toughest schedule in the NFL based off last year's records. With Belichick as head coach, it's possible for them to beat out Miami for that third spot. But realistically, I just don't think anyone expects them to get anywhere close to winning this division. The AFC North is very interesting as well. I think the Cleveland Browns have a decent roster. Deshaun, I need a massage. Let me get into the happy baby position. Watson is finally healthy.
Bruh.
Sure, the massages helped, but, you know, with all seriousness, if Deshaun Watson can get back to the QB he was before the injuries and before the massage scandals, the Browns could be a decent football team. With that being said, this is going to be a fight between the Bengals and the Ravens. Over the past few seasons, Joe Burrow has easily been the most consistent quarterback in this division, and as long as Lamar Jackson has injury concerns, Burrow will probably continue to be the most consistent quarterback in this division for years to come. So it's the Bengals' division to lose at this point. And look, I'm no Bengals fan, but I am from Central Kentucky, and our market is the Cincinnati Bengals in Central Kentucky. And growing up, I always hated the Bengals because we were forced to watch them every single week, and they always sucked. Now that I live in Philly, the Bengals are good. In figures, right? But now I have kind of a soft spot for them. Like I said, I'm not a fan, but if the Bengals win the Super Bowl, I wouldn't be mad about it. And I would definitely be happy for my hometown. Anyway, if Lamar Jackson can stay healthy, I think the Ravens have a fighter's chance to beat out the Bengals for this division. Both of these teams should make the playoffs, but of course that all depends on how good the AFC East actually is. The second place team in this division is most likely going to have to beat out one of those AFC East teams for a wild card spot. And then finally, we have the Steelers. I don't want to forget about them. They have second-year quarterback Kenny Pickett behind center, and the Steelers are really looking for him to take a big leap forward this season. So keep an eye out for the Steelers. If Pickett makes that leap, then the Steelers won't be an irrelevant team this season. This is just my opinion, but I think the AFC South is one of the worst divisions in football. You know, they're still one of the more interesting divisions in football, but that's just because every single team is mid or terrible. Trevor Lawrence is by far the best quarterback in this division, and the Jags should win this division. But the storylines in this division are the development of the two rookie quarterbacks, Anthony Richardson for the Colts and CJ Stroud for the Houston Texans. I feel like neither team expects to compete for a playoff spot, but the Colts have one of the easiest schedules in the league, so if Richardson can have a decent rookie season, the Colts could win more games than expected. If any team is going to compete with the Jags for this division, it's going to be the Titans. But I don't know, man. I don't feel confident in that team at all. So it wouldn't surprise me if the Jags just ran away with this division. And then finally, we have the AFC West. I think everybody expects this Chiefs team to win the division again, barring any major injuries. Pat Mahomes and the Chiefs have dominated this division so much that they consider the Bengals to be their rivals more than the Chargers or the Broncos. So, everyone kind of expects the other three teams in the division to compete for second place. And honestly, that's where all the storylines are in this division are anyway. Can Justin Herbert and the Chargers finally get over the hump, make the playoffs, and compete for a Super Bowl? Can Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson and turn the Broncos around? How much will Sean Payton let Russ cook? And will Russ's cooking poison the entire team like it did last year? Can the Raiders turn this thing around? That franchise has been reeling ever since the John Gruden scandal. I just can't imagine expectations are very high, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Raiders end up being the caboose of this division once again. Now let's move on to the NFC. The NFC East is going to be an absolute Royal Rumble, and the expectation is that the Birds are going to run away with this division. And to that I say, not so fast.
Not so fast, midget. Not so fast.
Midget?
Yeah, little guy. Hey, not so fast. What's the matter?
Look, obviously, I'm an Eagles fan, but before I'm a fan of anything, I am a realist. First, always. And that's what the Nuance machine is about. And the facts are that no team has won this division 2 years in a row since the Eagles won it 4 years in a row from 2001 to 2004. The real facts are the Eagles lost their offensive and defensive coordinators. The real facts are Super Bowl losers have historically had issues getting back to the Super Bowl again. The real facts are that the Eagles have a huge target on their back. With that being said, it's also a fact that the Eagles were somehow able to upgrade their already stacked roster by adding DeAndre Swift and Rashad Penny. They drafted Nolan Smith and Jalen Carter to add to what was already statistically the best defensive line in the NFL. And they still have one of the best offensive lines in the league. Not to mention, they still, of course, have Jalen Hurts, the Slim Reaper, A.J. Brown. You still got guys on the defense like Darius Slay. So, this team is completely stacked. And obviously, I want the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. And they obviously have the squad to get there again. But getting back there is going to be extremely difficult. And look, Eagles fans don't want to admit it, but the Cowboys are right on our heels.
I'm super excited to play for America's team and help you get some wins. Why's Trey here? We don't need anybody but me at QB. Dak, stop it. Now, Trey, I just want to go over some simple schemes. Our first play is Ric Flair's scrotum hair. The slot receiver cuts across the middle, you look off the safety, then boom! Everybody knows this. You throw the ball to the other team. No, Dak. You throw it to the slot receiver. Very good, Trey. You catch on fast. Whatever. You think he's so smart? I'll show you. I'll show everybody my way works. I'm going to throw the ball to the other team every pass this year. And when we win the Super Bowl, I'm going to be the first to tell you I told you so.
And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but if the Cowboys were going to go to the Super Bowl in the slightly better than average man era, this is the year. Like, the Cowboys are stacked. They're not quite as stacked as the Eagles, but they have a very good team. And it's the last thing I want, but I'm not one of those Eagles fans that pretends that Cowboys always suck no matter what. I think this Cowboys team will compete with the Eagles for the division. And the Giants and Redskins, the football team, the Commanders will duke it out for third place. And honestly, every other division in the NFC is kind of weak, so the NFC East could once again have 3 playoff teams this season. And let's not forget that if Eric Bieniemy can turn that Commanders offense around, they can become a legit threat in this division as well. So their defense was tough last year. They just couldn't score any points. So let's see if that happens, then look out. This division, probably the best division in the NFC for sure. The NFC North is an interesting division as well, but only because it's full of mid teams, and there's just not much of a gap between the best team in that division and the worst team in that division. Whoever comes out of this division will probably get beat in the first round of the playoffs. Kirk Cousins and Jared Goff are the best quarterbacks in this division for now. But the Lions haven't been to the playoffs since Megatron retired. And they haven't won a playoff game since 1991. I was 4 years old. So while the Lions roster looks pretty good on paper, I'm not going to believe this team can win the division until I see it. So the Vikings should win this division, but we'll keep an eye out on the Lions. I'm not really sure what the expectations are for Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, but we'll finally get a chance to see what he can do. And this is a prove-it season for him. So, if he does well this season, he'll probably get an extension. If not, they might just let him go. And we'll also see if Justin Fields can make a leap throwing the football. Look, if he doesn't make that leap, then the Bears might be looking for another quarterback in the future. There's no doubt that Justin Fields is an electric player, but he only completed 60.4% of his passes. That ranks 32nd overall, and there's only 32 teams. There's literally only 2 quarterbacks worse, and that's Baker Mayfield and Zach Wilson. So I don't care how electric your scrambling and running the ball is. If you can't throw the ball, you can't win in the NFL. I also think the NFC South is the weakest division in football. Look, I know everything isn't all about the quarterback, but this division's best quarterback is the Saints' Derek Carr. The Bucs are throwing Baker Mayfield out there as their starting quarterback, who I just pointed out has the second worst completion percentage in the league last season. And he's not half the runner and scrambler that Justin Fields is. So they're pretty much in a terrible spot at the quarterback position. We'll see if Desmond Ridder can make a leap after beating out Marcus Mariota for the starting position for the Falcons last season. And the Panthers are starting rookie Bryce Young, and I just feel like the expectations can't be all that high for him. With that being said, I think the Saints should win this division, and the rest of the division is either extremely mid or just really bad teams. In the NFC West, a lot of folks have crowned the Niners as the winners of that division, but
if you want to crown them, then crown their ass. But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
I just don't think the Niners are guaranteed to win that division. What Brock Purdy did last year was nothing short of awesome, but now he's coming off a serious elbow injury, and he's still only played 9 games total in his entire career. So I don't care how good you were in those 9 games, we still need a larger sample size to say that you're the guy. With all that being said, the Niners definitely have the best roster in the division. That defense is the truth. But don't rule out the Seahawks. Geno Smith deserves all the credit in the world for how he has resurrected his career from the dead. He led the league in completion percentage at 69.8% last season, and I feel like the Seahawks can compete with the Niners for that division. I don't expect much from the Rams, with the exceptions of Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, and Aaron Donald. The rest of that Rams roster looks pretty mid to me. Same thing with the Cardinals. Kyler Murray is meh, and the rest of the Cardinals roster is pretty mid as well. I think they're going to be one of the worst teams in the trenches. Both their offensive and defensive line ratings are garbage. So, the likelihood of Kyler Murray running around for his life this season is pretty high. And look, you just can't win in the NFL if you can't protect the quarterback on offense and rush the quarterback on defense. And it just looks like the Cardinals are going to have issues doing both of those things. All right, so that's every division, every team. I'm really looking forward to the season, and we'll see how things turn out. I'm going to try to get another video out before the season officially starts so that we can do some week 1 picks. But yeah, that's going to be all for this one, guys. I will see you on the next one.
Can't wait.
Love you guys. Peace.
Dark side, light this bitch up.